Welcome inside Studio H here in LA with the legendary Paul Pierce and the super more even legendary Michael Wilbon. My name is Michelle Beadle. 4 teams scrapping for playoff position. That is our doubleheader tonight, and we will spend a little quality time with Bradley Beal and the best backcourt this side of Golden State in one Dame Leonard and CJ McCollum. Stay tuned. But we begin with the hottest story in the league right now. It's stack time. AD. Currently of the Pelicans. Since Monday morning, Woj reported the Browns agent Rich Paul informed the team that AD will not be signing an extension with the team either this summer or the next when his contract actually expires. His next destination has been the subject of some rampant and gripping speculation, to say the very least. And for everything that is actually fact right now about Anthony Davis, we bring in the one, the only, Woj. Woj, I gotta ask you, how are the Pelicans, as of right now, approaching this trade request?
Methodically, Michelle, and they're going to take their time. Teams are calling New Orleans. They're checking in, see what the Pelicans might want from a particular team's roster, and to try to get a sense of their timeline. And the message that's been given out to teams is, hey, if you want to make an offer, go ahead. We'll put it up on our board. But New Orleans is really focused on the long play here with these trade talks with Anthony Davis, and the trade deadline is obviously next Thursday. It is very unlikely that they're going to be engaged seriously enough with anybody to do a trade by then. They're really focused on getting Anthony Davis back on the court. They still would like to try to get back in the playoff chase, and they're still out there trying to improve that team to stay in this. So they're not in a mode right now of trying to get a deal done in the short term.
All right, so you mentioned the fact that the trade deadline is, in fact, next week, and it seems highly unlikely that things will happen before then. So let's say that does occur that way. What happens to their options if that, in fact, is the case? Does it change anything?
Their options grow tremendously because they'll be able to have the Boston Celtics in trade discussions. Boston can't do the deal now. They can't do a deal with Kyrie Irving on their roster until after July 1. So essentially, having Boston in the bidding, who's the team with the most draft picks, several outstanding young players, and a really motivated team to try and acquire Anthony Davis, it only elevates everyone else's offers in the trade process. And Boston, is going to be there. And I think Boston has sent a message to the Pelicans: be patient, wait for us. We are going to be in this, and we're going to be willing to talk about, essentially everyone on our roster outside of Kyrie Irving. So I think right now it's put New Orleans very much in a holding pattern, and it's really dampened the possibility of the Lakers being able to do what they'd love to do, is get a deal done prior to the trade deadline. New Orleans has no interest in acquiescing Anthony Davis to the Lakers right now.
Just going to chill. Woj, thank you. Stay safe out there. Guys, I want to turn it to you. What place makes the most sense for him?
Well, you know what I'm going to say.
No, I don't.
I think it's Boston.
What?
I mean, because they have the young assets, the draft picks, and if you can find a way to keep guys like Kyrie, of course, Tatum, and build around that with Anthony Davis, then you got something. If he goes
who are you planning on?
Well, anybody not named Kyrie or Jason Tatum.
Okay.
And if you go into with those three, you get Anthony Davis, Kyrie, and Tatum on one team, you figure out the rest.
And if I'm New Orleans, I'm saying to Danny Ainge, if I don't hear Jason Tatum's name, I'm not going to answer the phone for you either. But Paul is right. I mean, I think that it could wind up the best for him there. Look, the Lakers are the only team with incentive to get something done before the trade deadline because they don't want to let Boston in on this. And so that's how the Lakers could do that. The question is, and it's just interesting listening to club executives around the league, they don't seem to be very impressed by the Laker ensemble at all in terms of putting that deal together. So I think there's as much pressure on our dear friend Irvin Johnson as there is on Dell Demps right now. Dell Demps shouldn't have any pressure, not between now and the trade deadline, unless he sees something in that Laker offer that says to him, move now.
This is going to be fun.
I don't see this GMs wanting to do the Lakers a favor.
I don't either. Why would you?
I mean, we've seen this over the years, the trade with Gasol. The one setback was
saw it with
Chris
Pop.
Paul.
Saw last year.
Yeah, you saw last year. Pop didn't want to do the deal for Kawhi. So it's tough when you try to trade within the conference, which teams don't want to do because it always comes back to haunt you.
Not only that, but this has been so vocal and so public. I just feel like a pride standpoint, you're like, why would I help you after all? I mean, it's been humiliating. It's been a humiliating 48 hours, which is a good segue into keeping with the Lakers, who lost again last night to Philly. They're now 2 games out of 8th in the West, 6-11 since LeBron went out with that groin injury. Luke Walton said today LeBron is listed as out for Thursday, and his status for Saturday against Golden State is uncertain. We'll have that game, by the way. Michael, I ask you, he's not back. There are 31 games left, and right now they're out of the playoffs. Can they make a run?
Michelle, the longer he stays out, I mean, you mentioned 6-11. So LeBron gets back, you know, he's not going to be back probably with 31, but let's just say 31 games he has. What do they have to go, 20-11? Is that reasonable? You know, 19-12. I mean, the way they played with LeBron before the injury suggests it's possible, but the Lakers also have their toughest stretch of schedule ahead of them, and you have teams that are playing better now. I mean, Houston wasn't playing at all when LeBron was in there with the Lakers. Utah's gotten better.
For real.
Oklahoma City seems to have solidified itself, and it's going to be difficult if LeBron's not back sometime this week by Saturday.
By Saturday, okay.
Saturday night, we're talking a short period.
It is going to be difficult because when I look up and down, I mean, I feel like top 6 are a lock from Golden State to San Antonio and maybe even Utah.
A lock, okay.
Because they have an easy schedule the rest of the year. Lakers have one of the hardest schedules for the rest of the season. Maybe they can bump the Clippers, maybe not, but it's going to be an uphill race for them to make the playoffs.
The Clippers game winds up being a fairly important game tomorrow night, isn't it, Paul?
Oh, absolutely.
Funny how that works.
Who knows if LeBron is going to play that game. So.
I mean, out for now, I think it'll be interesting if...
Out for now sounds like...
Out for now is interesting.
Running out of the tunnel.
Right.
Team...
Hero ball.
This is one of those I'm waiting.
Because do you want him to come back his first game, Saturday night, primetime game against Golden State? I feel like you want a game.
But this is the thing, too. When LeBron come back, everybody got to readjust their game.
Right.
Because while he was out, they played a certain way.
Oh, my gosh.
There might be a period to where they are not used to playing with LeBron the first few games until they get back to their roles that they played before he got hurt.
This is great television because what you just did was segue into our next topic, a team that also has to try to figure out how to play together, because without the Brow last night, the Pelicans beat a certain bearded superstar in Houston behind 27-12 from Davis's replacement in Okafor and a stifling defense from one Drew Holiday. James Harden did not extend his 30-point streak until the final 2 minutes. He shot 11 of 32 on the night, and after the game sounded a bit despondent.
Terrible loss for us. Terrible. Let down. We're not good enough to just turn it on, so we got to, get off to really good starts. And obviously, tonight was one of those nights where we didn't play well defensively. And I mean, even though we shot the ball well, you give teams confidence, especially early in the game. They're capable of anything.
So this is obviously Chris Paul is back, and they're figuring things out. 7-6 in their last 13, 5 spot right now in the West. How do you feel about this Rockets team and Harden moving forward?
I think that we thought there was going to be an adjustment period with Chris Paul. Actual times where James Harden's baskets can be assisted as opposed to that 6-game stretch. So we knew there was going to be that. I still think about New Orleans and why are they so bad this year? I know there's been injuries, a lot of injuries, but a lot of teams have had that. Houston's had that. And New Orleans is not able to overcome it, but it still, Paul, to me, underscores how difficult the West is right through everybody, including except for Phoenix. And even the Suns are giving people some difficult games right now, but Houston is not going to be able to just get through this playoff run the way I think they will, having to work Chris Paul back in.
Yeah, I mean, this was a bad loss for them, but every team doesn't have a Drew Holiday. First off, and I'm mind-boggled how bad New Orleans is. When we consider Anthony Davis a top 5 player, and they're not even in the playoff race, Houston, this is a game they got to win.
Right.
But they're going through an adjustment period also. Trying to play with Chris Paul again. James Harden has to come off the ball a little bit more than he's used to over this last run. So, that's why he probably struggled and shot so many shots and didn't shoot a high percentage. So it's an adjustment period. People don't understand that part of the game. When you come back and you put a superstar there, everything changes. Everybody's roles change.
I mean, you watch the first few minutes of that game and you realize Chris Paul has the ball now and James Harden doesn't, and it's a completely different vibe. It'll be interesting to see how they figure this one out. Moving on, who's the best 2 guard in the Eastern Conference at this moment? Could be Bradley Beal, who's getting ready to go at the top of the hour. Before that, a little tour of how he lives. Hint, it ain't bad. And our late game tonight features one of the best backcourts in basketball. Dame and CJ got paid a visit from our pal Scottie Pippen up in Portland. That's coming up next.